I'm delighted to say that I'm now joined by Orlando Weeks, who was the frontman in the very successful indie band, the Maccabees, and is now back with his third solo record, Loja, which is out now. So, Orlando, the big news at the moment is that Oasis are back, and I kind of just wanted to know, is that something that's on your radar? Is that something that you're interested in?
I mean, I'm interested in the sense of it being a sort of temporary cultural phenomenon that just the sort of explosion of the news. I don't think I'm gonna. I haven't got a ticket, so I won't be going. I know that Felix has got a ticket and uh, is more excited than he's letting on.
I was going to ask about that because I know quite famously he's a big fan of Oasis. He's talked about it on record quite a lot. So was that something that he would play them a lot back in the day when you guys were all together?
Oasis would come on after midnight, like if the party was going into the small hours, and Fee would explain passionately why it was so brilliant.
If there was like a musical era or a band that you would love to see reform, who would that be?
I mean, I would have loved to have seen the Clash. Where was it? Is it called the Kitchen in New York, where Arthur Russell would do things with Talking Heads, and then that would have been fun.
Talking of reunions, then, is it something that you get asked about a lot, or used to get asked about a lot with the Maccabees?
We've always just sort of said, I don't think so, but we talk about it sometimes. And I speak to the boys more and more, and but yeah, we still get asked.
And it wouldn't take 80 million quid then, which is what Oasis are
I mean,
reporting.
80 million quid's a lot of money, isn't it? I mean, that is such a staggering amount of money. I mean, 8 million quid would probably do it. Yeah.
In terms of that solo experience, then what are the aspects that you kind of prefer in terms of the whole big picture of the start to the end point and including the performances? What is it that you enjoy about being a solo artist?
You move at the pace that you want to move at, I think, is the most in all aspects. Like the decision making, how long you work on a song, how long you give a song, how easy it is to just cut something the that is exciting, and it keeps it sort of vital, because you can do that, or you are judge, jury, and executioner. That's the bit I love, is there is nothing, and then all of a sudden there is something, and then you decide, or your confidence decides how much time, energy you can keep to develop that thing into something that is more like a song or a piece of music or whatever it is. So and it's that process which I think on my own is still, I love that.
I presume, there's still an element of collaboration. You listen to people, you take advice, and there's people that play with you and they might have thoughts. So, how does it differ? Do you just, you have more autonomy, I suppose, as a solo artist? You're listening, but you're making the final decision, whereas with a band, it's more of a kind of vote, is it?
Sort of the point of a band, in terms of what it makes, is that it is the the coincidence of those people's tastes and their ability to compromise to achieve whatever the end thing is. It has been through the filter of those people, and that is what makes it unique to that band. Because I guess the more people you add into the um, sort of curation of how that song exists, the sort of probability of it being the same in any other situation gets smaller. So the difference, I guess, is that I welcome and need all sorts of collaboration, but as a person that makes records on my own, but I have to make the final decision.
So this is your third studio album as a solo artist. One of the big impacts on it is the fact that you've moved to Lisbon. And how do you think that that has impacted this record?
I think what it has given me is newness, and uh, and I'm genuine in love with being here. I love Lisbon. I love the atmosphere. I love what it's giving my son, and lots of things. I'm sort of evangelical about it, and I think that a lot of making a record and a lot of sustaining the confidence through the making of a record is energy. And I think being in love and being entranced by this and grateful or whatever is gives energy. And so I have had more of it to help me uh sustain confidence, and through that sustain the finishing and the kind of the higgledy-piggledy-ness of completing a record.
So Loja, it's the word literally means store, right, in Portuguese. So what does that mean to you in this record and its title?
A Loja is a store, and when we got here, uh, I found it was an old store that was being advertised as that, um, but it was great size and in a fun neck of the woods. Not, it's kind of handy for me to then go and pick my son up from school, all those kinds of things. And so I rented it for a year. I actually have 2.5 weeks or whatever it is left on the lease, so it will have been about a year, not quite. Um, and uh, and so yeah, I made all of the artwork for the record there. I wrote lyrics there, um, and I just like the idea of that being the kind of. It's never been a functioning store under me, but in a way, it's become the shop front for the record, and I kind of like that. And I've loved being there. So the on the cover of the record is a picture of me outside the Loja, and I will really remember it fondly as a place, and it's now locked into this record in terms of visuals and my recollection of the album. In a way, the love of being here was a lot to do with how it felt big to leave London.
Do you ever compare your own records and do you ever feel a higher or lower level of satisfaction after a record?
I feel really quickly like I want to do another one.
Really?
That's sort of the trend with me.
Yeah.
I think um, I'm finding it easier or more interesting. Like I haven't really done really intense touring as a solo artist, so and I like that. Like it's not the bit that I want to keep doing over and over again.
I saw that you were on Sunday Brunch this weekend, and one of the questions they asked you quite early on was whether you enjoyed promoting an album, and you kind of you reassured them that that was something you enjoyed. But truthfully, is that, I mean, quite often artists kind of see that as a bit of a chore. So how do you sort of find that side of things? Especially now you're a solo as well, and with a band, I guess that kind of thing, it was a bit more of a shared experience.
The anticipation for something like Sunday Brunch is way worse than the actual experience of it. When you're actually doing it, it's so early in the morning and you're so full of coffee
Yeah.
and nerves and a kind of surreal experience that that it becomes kind of great, like and so yeah, weird enough to be a pleasure. um and I don't know, I mean, I think what I've figured out is that often, so for instance, us having this conversation, I would used to have been more nervous about it, just because I think I was less able to give a cut and dry answer. I just didn't really know what I thought enough, and I suppose something about being on your own and having to have those answers ready mean that you get better at it. And I've found actually that the opportunity to talk about the record with people, talk about what I think about making records, um, or that kind of neck of the woods, it is it's it gives me a greater insight into what I think, and that I hope will translate into me being better at the job of making things in the first place, because it's just about when you're making, I think when I'm making a record, the moments of clarity, of kind of hindsight, or kind of bird's eye view of what I'm doing, that's hard to achieve. Like, to step outside of the thing enough when you're in the melee of it, to have a perspective. That's a I think I get better at that if I've got better at talking about previous records, and so it's actually a boon. You know, it's a treat, and so I really appreciate the opportunity to do it, and speak with you or speak with other people about what it is that I'm trying to achieve, or what, like, and to question that, like, what am I trying to achieve? What is the point of this?
How do you define your own success? Do you define your own success in your head?
I will see it as a success each time I get to start work and make a new record. I think success. I'm doing it again, and I love this. So yeah.
And I'd read that in an interview, I think, that you were considering that maybe one day that you may be a full-time illustrator, and I know that's obviously something that you do a lot of, but maybe music wouldn't necessarily continue forever, or is that something that you would just do on the side? How do you envisage that?
So we were speaking about Felix earlier, and I think Fee from a young age was like into bands, loved music, Enemy, posters on the wall type music teenager, and I wasn't at all. I was I wanted to draw and make things, and so it hadn't really crossed my mind, and I think therefore I guess it's my first love, and I suppose I could imagine going back to it. I mean, the dream ticket for me is managing to find a way of doing both, because I love I really like doing them both.
We're going a bit quick fire now. So in terms of
Okay.
lots of different subjects here, you just got to give me London or Lisbon, which is better.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so for fashion, London or Lisbon?
London.
Live music.
London.
Food.
London.
Art.
I'm really obsessed with Paula Rego at the moment, so Lisbon.
Nightlife.
Lisbon.
Transport.
Lisbon.
Ubers are quite cheap in Lisbon, aren't they?
Yeah, and just I suppose I was thinking walking is a form of transport,
Yeah.
and walking in Lisbon is a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Where has the best wine?
Lisbon.
The prettiest?
Lisbon.
The best beer?
Lisbon.
The best views?
Lisbon.
And I'm going to finish on best brunch.
Sunday.
Which is in London, so...
Which is in London. It must be. The best brunch is Sunday brunch.
Orlando, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks,
Yeah, delighted to hear that there is talk between you and the Maccabees of a reunion very soon. No, I'm joking. That somewhere
Not my
down the
words.
line it is possible. So yeah, great to hear. Thank you so much.
Virgin